There, this is Janice Stokes-Nauman, and I have become over the last year a dyslexic therapist, and I've learned so much about reading comprehension. And I know as moms, we worry about our kids all the time. We read them stories. Sometimes they don't understand what they're reading. We worry about comprehension. And then when they get older, we worry about if they can write and all of those kind of things. And the tips that I'm going to give you today are things you can do with every story that you read to them to make it simple so that by the time they're in, those upper grades and they're learning how to comprehend what they're reading, which is what you want them to do when after they learn how to read on their own. We want them to actually understand what they're reading. But then when they get to middle school, they're understanding for information. So it's really important that they're comprehending it. But then they're also working on writing. So when you understand stories and you understand parts of stories, it makes a big difference in their writing. So the tips I'm going to share with you today will hopefully help you with all of that, so you don't have to worry anymore about your child and that you're preparing them for school so that they can be successful. So we're going to talk a little bit today about the story Goldilocks and the Three Bears, just because it's simple and you all know the story. We're going to talk about the 5W questions. And one of those 5W questions that you're going to start out with, you've read the story to your child, and then you're going to ask them, who is in the story? Well, you talk about the Goldilocks, and you talk about the bears, and you talk about all the different people. Those are the characters in the story. And then you're going to talk about where the story happened. It happened maybe in the woods, and then it ended up at the bear's house, right? It ended up in the bear's house. So that's where the story happened. Then you're going to talk about, when did the story happen? And this is where you can talk about the seasons. You can talk about it. Is it during the day? Was it, what time of the day? Did it start out in the morning and then end in the evening? That kind of thing. So when did it happen? The last thing you're going to talk about is what actually happened in the story. And each time that you go through this with your child, you're helping them summarize the story. Now, what happened in the story? And you're going to talk about how Goldilocks first went to the bowls, and she didn't like she had to taste all the porridge. She was trying to find the best one. And then you're going to talk about she went to the chairs, and she got to the baby chair. The baby's chair, she sat in it, and it broke. But that still didn't scare her. Oh, and I completely forgot about the beginning of the story. She left and she got kind of sidetracked along the way. So she ended up at she was supposed to go to the store, but she ended up in the bear's house. So she was didn't pay attention, or didn't do exactly what her mom and dad wanted her to do. So that's something to think about. Anyway, so she did the bowls, and then she did the chair. She broke the little baby chair, but then she thought, well, it's getting tired and I want to see what the beds are like. So she went upstairs and went to all the 3 beds, and then she actually fell asleep. Well, then at the end of the story, after she fell asleep, then she woke up. And when she woke up, she had 3 bears looking at her. And she quickly got her stuff and ran out of the house. And that was the end of the story. But that's the most important part of the story, because why did the most important event happen? The most important event happened because she was wanting to, she had to learn not to do what she was supposed to, learn to pay attention to what her mom said, right? Maybe that was a story where she was supposed to go to the store and then come back home, and she got really, really scared when she woke up and there were the 3 bears and she didn't know what to do. And the story is, and the fairy tale is, she, excuse my dog, was never, ever happy. Never, ever, I'm getting sidetracked with my puppy dog. Quit. Shotzi, stop. She was never, ever naughty again. So maybe that's why the author wrote the story, and that's the other thing that you can talk about. So thanks again for watching. Remember the 5W questions, and do those after every story, and your child will learn the different parts of the story. Thanks. Shotzi. I wish you would stop.